Hi, Ruthie. Thank you for doing this course. So, a little introduction about yourself?
Thank you for having me. I am really excited to be here, and I really need it because I'm a designer and entrepreneur, designer for a living. I get to do what I love and am good at, so I am very, very blessed. And I also have my small side hustle project for helping women with endometriosis. And for this, I feel like I really need help because I need the help of other people to bring this to what it could be and should be for the patients. But I'm not good at all of this small
Uh,
talking that it takes to get there.
So, small talk. So, let's dive right into this. Why do you say you're not good at it? Or better yet, why would you say it's hard?
Uh, First, it makes me cringe. It's just like, I feel like a lot of it is just bland. Like, it's just, we're a bunch of adults stuck in the same room, and now we have to talk, where oftentimes it's just like, the people you actually want to talk to, they're so busy, they don't want to talk to you. And then you just end up like trying to talk to people. It's just I'm cringing just thinking.
Right.
It's
So,
hard. It's just not natural. It feels forced. It's boring a lot of times. And I personally don't feel like it does enough for me.
so let's break down what you just said. So, you say it's hard because you want to meet people. And you say it's hard because you don't know maybe what to talk about. So it could be a meaningless conversation. And you probably feel also that you want to dive into meaningful or better yet, a relationship very much quicker and you don't know how to bypass it. So this is what I guess most people feel when it comes to small talk. If we define why small talk is hard, let's really be honest. So, small talk is an American way of getting to know you because we have to start somewhere. We can't just meet some person and say, hey, okay, let's do business together. But why is it really hard? So, it's hard because if we're really honest, is that when we do small talk, and this is small talk for business, right? We want to do small talk because more often than not, we want to look for new opportunities. So when we want to look for new opportunities through small talk, we're looking for other people that may be interesting or relevant to us, right? It's hard because we want, with an emphasis on we want, to look for opportunities that are relevant to us. And when we meet people, we focus on ourselves, right? And when we focus on ourselves, we don't know how to bridge the gap between what it is that we want to talking to other people and finding out if they're relevant to us. So we're stuck. Does that resonate with you?
I feel awful if I do that because, I remember like years back when I was looking for a job, I went to like a networking event and like everything I was talking about is how I'm looking for a job. And like it didn't even matter who was there. And then I went home and I was like, all they remember is that I don't have a job right now. Like they probably don't know anything else about me. That that is the only thing they know.
Very happy that you're being so honest because this is really it. Whether it is that you're looking for a job or for an investor or for business opportunities, you're going to network or you're going to meet some people. And then we are so focused on what it is that we need, right? And we don't know how to talk about this. And finally, we find this conversation meaningless. There was a study done by the University of Warwick on small talk. They divided two groups to play strategic games. When one group was permitted to have a 4-minute small talk before the game, and the other group didn't. And what they found was that the group that had 4 minutes of small talk before the game, they changed their strategy of the game. So in 4 minutes, we perceive the other person based on how they conduct themselves, what they say. And that study they permitted the people to chat online, not even face to face. And what it means is that it has an implication for how we conduct ourselves. So that 4 minutes of a conversation is really a game changer. So it makes small talk really difficult because it's like we have to pitch in a moment because we know we're being judged and we feel it, right? So today, what it is that we're going to do, we're going to learn how to initiate a conversation in a much easier way. Okay? So,
It's promising.
yeah, well, let's see where we're heading with this. So, the first rule that we want to learn is that when we initiate the conversation, instead of thinking about ourselves, we want to put the entire focus only on the other person. Okay? Only the other person is interesting, not us. We want to take away everything that we come with, all the I need, I want, whatever it is put aside, and we only focus on the other person. That's it. So let's see how it plays out. Here is a situation. Let's take you in your work, for example. And let's say that you have a new boss that came into the office. And let's say that you're in the office and your new boss is making coffee in the morning. You see him in the kitchen. And you arrive and you want to say hi. Okay. So usually you would probably, I don't know, maybe overthink it or not. But now, with a new rule in mind, what we want to do is think for a second, just a switch. It's just a switch of a mindset. Only they are interesting. Okay, so it's morning time. You see your new boss. I'm the new boss. I'm making coffee. You come and say hello. So what do you say?
Hi, I'm Ruthie. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Ruthie. Good to meet you.
Have you settled in? Have you seen The Office already?
Yes, I got a short tour, I guess, but I'm still getting to know all the pieces here. So, first day
Yeah, you should know the good coffee is in the back.
in the
But
back. Good to know. All right. So, let's stop just 1 second and see how you just initiated a conversation. Okay. So, what did you feel when you initiated this conversation?
a lot more ease. Usually in such situations, like my brain is really overthinking it, like you said. And it's like, okay, this moment is going to determine the rest of my career. It's just like the first moment sees it. And this is like, no, it's just a person. He's or she is. They are starting a new job. They're probably nervous, maybe spilled coffee this morning and like had a whole thing. You never know. And it was
So,
so easy.
yes, it was easy because you didn't think about how to present yourself. You put the focus on that person and you told them where the good coffee is or everything else. So initiating these two sentences just became easier. So let's take another situation. Let's put you now in the entrepreneur role. Okay. And let's say that you are in some networking event and you have many, maybe VC representatives, you have an investor that you want to talk to, you have other entrepreneurs, and you see this one investor that you want to talk to. And obviously, you're thinking about your investment and everything that an entrepreneur thinks about. But right now, with the rule, we only put the focus on the other person. So we're going to forget about what you need in terms of investors. and you see them for a second by themselves. So I'm going to play the investor, and before you would approach the investor, think only me. I am interesting, not you. So I'm standing by a buffet. Okay. What do you do?
I would just come by and say hi. Nice to meet you. Is it hard to be that person that everybody wants to talk to?
Oh, yes, sometimes I get a lot of entrepreneurs, but I get to hear a lot of ideas. And who are you?
Hi, I'm Ruthie. I'm also an entrepreneur, but I'm not going to pitch you. I
And
know you're busy.
why not, Ruthie?
I know you're busy. I'm happy to talk to you, but I actually don't know how to take it from here because
No,
if
no,
they really want to hear the pitch, like, do I not pitch? Like, they really want to hear it.
no, no, only the other person is interesting. You do not pitch, okay? Because it's very hard, but we don't want to turn the conversation towards ourselves. Not yet. Later in the course, but not now. So that makes approaching a person much easier, right? Because it feels like everything that you need at a moment is kind of put aside. So actually, the first hi is less heavy lifting, right? Because you can say hi, you're interested in them. And if you think about it for a moment, you're like the investor. You want to know who they are. You want to know what is
Yeah.
going on with them. And not going to pitch you. Not now. Want to get to know you. Want to say hi. Maybe you know what's good in this buffet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How does
I
that?
think because I was so focused on like pitch or don't pitch, I just kind of like said it. I probably should not have addressed the fact that I'm not going to pitch because that just kind of like blocked me. But yeah, it's interesting. I do like the idea of getting to know someone before pitching because it's easier when you know a little bit, even a little bit about them. It's so helpful.
Okay, so let's challenge you and get another example. So let's say that you are in this fundraising event, and let's say it's for women with cancer, and let's say it's a big event, right? Because it's about awareness, a lot of women there, and it's really a type of a crowd that you know that there are going to be some famous women investors there and entrepreneurs, and you're there. And let's say that you see this woman, she's dressed in a white suit, and you know that she is the CEO of a cosmetics company and she's funding this event. She may be also a keynote speaker. And it would be nice to say hello to her and get to know her, right? And let's say that she's standing for a second by herself and you spot that there is a stain on her skirt. Okay. You really want to talk to her. You really want to get to know her and you really want to pitch her at some point. But you know she is there and you know she's going to give a keynote speech. So I'm going to play this woman and I'm standing somewhere, okay, in this room. What do you do?
Um, I would go directly to her and I would say, hi, I'm honored to meet you. My name is Ruthie, but I just wanted, before we talk about anything, I wanted to let you know there is a stain and you should take care of it first.
Okay, good. So first of all, this is quite a hello. How does it feel to say it?
It's weird, I have to say, because I would just get stuck a lot of like, how to approach and just like thinking about it and then could just miss the opportunity a lot. It's just, I'm so nervous and I get stuck and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. So I just don't. Easy. Um, it's easier for me in this situation to imagine myself like really going directly to just help, because like this is something that needs to be handled right now. So it's just easier to do that, to approach, because you know you're approaching for them and not for you.
So what just happened is that you recognize that there is a little situation. You said, let me put the interest of this woman first and let her know before I get to say who I am, what I do. You know, she's a keynote speaker. There's a situation needs to be handled. And let's bump it up a notch. Let's say that you know that if you take maybe a napkin with some seltzer water, it removes the stains most of the times, or you Google it. And this woman is standing talking to somebody else. What do you do now? So I'm this woman. What do you do now?
I would wait for like you know how a tiny moment in a conversation when you can interrupt and it's not like mid-sentence. So I would wait for that and kind of just like tap her shoulder, like really whisper so no one else can hear, and say, hey, this is what you can do. Or if I can't even like produce the stuff, maybe like, hey, here is a tissue with some, I don't know, vinegar on it that is going to take care of it. And kind of like, you know, just make it a tiny little thing that is not a big issue. And I would probably take the opportunity to say, okay, by the way, I'm Ruthie. We'd love to talk to you later. Don't worry about this now.
So this is wonderful because this was small talk. And it was because you just exchanged information with a person, okay? But you took it up to a next level where there is so much that you wanted to talk to her about, but you put her interest first. You didn't make an issue out of it. And instead of telling her how to solve the problem, you actually helped her solve the problem, right? So all of this happened in less than a minute. And she probably would talk to you at some point, right? And this is where we want to be. So the idea of small talk is not necessarily pitching ourselves. So what you just did is not only initiate communication in a different level, but you were also a giver. You put her interest first. And that's not only small talk communication, but it actually reflects upon your behavior. And being a giver is a reflection of a successful behavior most of the time. In particular, I want to refer to Professor Adam Grant's work, specifically to his work about give and take. So Adam Grant is a professor at Wharton. He's an organizational psychologist. And what he discovered is that people can be categorized into three types: givers, takers, and matchers. So takers, we don't have to define. Givers, we understand. And matchers are those that live, as he says, life on a comfortable level. You do me a solid, I'll do you a solid. And what he found was really interesting, that givers are the best to perform in an organization, but also the worst to perform. So givers can be burned out, but if you give them enough time, givers would do better in the long run. But additional two very interesting points are that we often identify as givers. Most people would say, whether it's in our families, in our societies. But when we enter the workforce, something in the workforce changes givers and they become takers or matchers. And the other thing is that givers help the whole organization succeed. It also makes sense because if we take our time to help others, so not only we succeed, the organization succeeds. So why am I talking so much about givers? Because when we step into a giver mindset, we want to learn how to do it. First, it's going to help us succeed. It's going to help people around us succeed. And it's going to help the organization succeed. But most importantly, it would make us great communicators. So today, we're going to define now what is a giver. What is true giving? So far, how does it resonate with you? Any questions?
I mean, yes. First of all, I feel like, when you said about like company of like givers versus takers slash matchers, you can feel it. You know how like you walk into the office and you feel it and you know right away if it's, if this team is more of like the giving or the matching, or if this person is more of a taker, and you can feel it right away. So yeah, I never thought it in like the context of small talk, but it's very interesting where you're going with this.
We want to take this giver mindset, which is going to help us succeed, which is going to help the organization succeed. And we're going to see how to implement it into small talk, which you already did, right? So let's define giving. So true giving makes the giver uncomfortable. Okay. So what do I mean by that? We think that giving is easy. So if we give to charity, or if we walk down the street and we see a sign and we give $5 or $1 to a person on the street, did we really give? Simon Sinek calls it, we just bought a good feeling, right? Right.
Very cynical way of looking at it, but yes.
Yeah. When we really want to give, it needs to make us a tad, or sometimes a lot, uncomfortable. So in the situation where you just spoke to the CEO lady, okay, if you think about it in your mind, coming up to a person you don't know in a high-ranking position that is some investor that you hope to speak with, and say, here's a napkin to solve a little situation. In your mind, that made you comfortable in doing.
Yeah, I mean, you always hope that they're going to be super happy that, oh, thank you so much. But it could also be someone who's like, how did you see my flaw? Like, couldn't you find my assistant and tell her or something?
Right.
You never know how that's going to be accepted.
Yes. So the idea is to be a little bit uncomfortable, because when we are uncomfortable in giving, it makes true giving out there. And it's also going to help us with communication. And here's a small example. When your partner in life or your colleague at work makes you coffee, you can say thank you and continue doing what you're doing. But if you pause for a second and look at your colleague or your partner in life and just say thank you, okay, it's a different thank you.
Yeah.
There was a lot more giving in this thank you, right? What was different about it is that you just paused from what it is that you were doing. You took a moment. It was a tad uncomfortable because it wasn't just a flaw, right? But it also made you, in that second, a better communicator. Why? Because you focused on the other person, right? So, what it is that we're going to do this week, and your challenge, should you choose to accept it as homework for this week, is just to initiate conversations based on the one rule that we learned today. Put the focus on the other person. Only they are interesting, not you. And see if you can carry a conversation with the entire focus on them. For now, we just want to start the conversation and see how it goes. Okay? Until next time, where we see how we take it to the next level. How does that sound?
I accept the challenge.
Good.
Sounds good.
So thank you, and we'll see you next week.